Santa's Little Helper. Written by a low-tech layout owner. Once upon a time, on a fine December morning, 3 railroad workers were just about finishing the first half of their long early morning work. The conductor, Tucker Bell, told to his brakeman TJ. "Hey TJ, this morning was smooth, huh?" TJ replied, "Yeah. Everybody were ready for us, dude." "I wish every morning was like that," Tucker said as wiping his nose on dirty white shirt. Despite of their exhausting long work, their hearts were lighter this morning. Today was Christmas Eve. They were enjoying in a festive mood of trackside towns. As their train passed a self-claiming the world's most glorious biosolids facility, TJ noticed that someone is sitting in a ditch. "Hey Tucker dude. Who is that?" TJ said as he looked at the direction of figure. Tucker replied, "Who? Where?" "Over there. I think Santa Claus is sitting there," TJ said, pointing his sausage-looking index finger at the ditch with excitement. "Holy cow. Santa Claus." As he leaned over from the caboose vestibule, Tucker said it loud with an astonishing face. Tucker quickly radioed the engineer Chuck. CBL1 conductor to the engineer. "Hey Chuck, stop the train for just a second." Chuck replied by saying Roger and brought the train to safe stop. At the ditch, Tucker wasn't sure that he's a real Santa or not. Tucker, with suspicious eyes, asked Santa what he's doing here. Santa said, "Ho ho, I mean N. I live here." TJ said, "What's N? Santa replied softly, "I'm an N scale size, not HO scale." Tucker said, "Are you still saying that?" "I can't pass this brilliant low intelligence joke," Santa said while combing his magnificent beard. Tucker asked Santa, full of doubt in his mind, "I thought you're living in the North Pole." When Santa heard it, he slowly nodded his head, started talking to Tucker and TJ. "I like it here. Warmer climate is good for your soul. Besides, I made a hobo friend who temporarily migrated from Cherry Valley, Ohio. His name is Screaming Arthur. We're good friends now, Tucker." "How do you know my name?" Tucker asked Santa with full of surprise. I know all children." Santa continued. "I gave you a cute hippopotamus doll when you were 6 years old. You slept with him every night until your brother caught a cold and threw up on the doll. After that, you didn't even look at the doll." Tucker's face became tickle pink from embarrassment and said, "You can't say it on this video. Everybody can hear it." Santa smiled with shining white teeth and told Tucker, "Don't worry. You don't have that many subscribers. Ho ho ho, I mean N. TJ was listening their conversation with sparkles in his eyes. He whispered, "Santa is magic." While Tucker was still full of doubt, Santa told them this was good timing. "I can use your help." Santa spoke softly. "My sleigh is broken. I need to bring it to the closet yard engine house. The mechanic Richard can fix it for me. I already talked with Don the yard master." Again with surprise in his face, Tucker said, "How do you know Don?" Santa replied softly as he is telling a 10-year-old boy. "Don and I met on Twitter, and we are good Facebook friends now." TJ asked Tucker with an excited voice, "Can we help him?" "Oh please, let's help him." Tucker hesitated to answer but eventually said, "Yes." As though the owner of this layout planned it out from the beginning, they conveniently had a flat car on the consist. They decided to put Santa's sleigh on the flat car. Santa's sleigh was so heavy, they were barely able to move it. Tucker asked Santa, "Why is it so heavy?" N. That's the weight of billions of children's dreams, Tucker. TJ couldn't resist his excitement and said, "Wow, dreams." Tucker said with a doubtful face, "I don't see anything on it. What's wrong with this sleigh anyway?" Santa's smile disappeared and sadness in his eyes and said, "The engine. The engine broke down last night. If I don't fix it by tonight, I can't bring toys to children." When TJ heard it, he nodded with tearing eyes. Doubtful, Tucker asked Santa, "What kind of engine do you have?" Santa smiled again and said, EMD 12645 E3 turbocharged prime mover. TJ excitedly asked, Wow Santa, where did you get it? Santa looked TJ with soft, trustful eyes and said, EMD's Lagrange, Illinois plant. That's maniac information, Tucker said. Continued with a frowning face. Aren't you supposed to have reindeers for flying? Santa's face turned to serious expression and said, I couldn't reach the agreement with Reindeer Labor's Union. Santa shook his head as he continued, we couldn't agree with their healthcare benefits package and the retirement contribution plan. Tucker's suspicion was reaching its peak and said, that's too realistic. I don't believe what you said. Ho ho ho, I mean NNN, believing is the key for the magic Tucker. Santa smiled warmly to Tucker. Santa's sleigh was safely placed on the flat car and they started a journey to the closet yard. As they were crossing the closet avenue, all of a sudden, Santa screamed, Stop the train, stop the train. Tucker jumped up and pulled an emergency dump valve on the caboose. As an emergency brake application occurred, the train came to abrupt halt. Tucker rushed over to Santa and said, What's the emergency? Santa replied calmly, No emergency Tucker, I just need to see if that used car dealer over there has a new sleigh. Tucker said with fear in his voice, You can't scare me like that. You freaked me out. Santa smiled and said, Believing is everything Tucker. Don't look for an instant gratification. It doesn't make any sense, Tucker frowned. TJ was standing beside of them in awe and whispered, Santa is magic. Tucker was severely upset. While TJ and Tucker were resetting the train from an emergency stop and giving a quick brake test, Santa was at the suspicious used car dealer. An unnaturally smiled salesman came out and said, Hi, how are you doing? How can I help you for these magnificent cars? Ho ho, I mean NNN, do you have a sleigh? Santa asked. The salesman twitched his left cheek without changing his artificial smile and said, I don't have a sleigh but we have these magnificent cars for a fantastic price. Would you wanna go a test drive now? Before the salesman finishing his sentence, Santa started examining cars on display. NNN. Meanwhile, Tucker was trying taming angry drivers at crossing. Where is Santa? We can't keep blocking streets here. The salesman sensed that Santa was a tough customer, he said. I'll give you 2% discount and a free air freshener. NNN. Santa looked at modern-day automobiles and said to the salesman, These cars are nice but I like manual roll-down windows. Just like the I have on my sleigh. The salesman visibly twitched his cheeks and hurriedly said, I'll give you 2 free air fresheners. Santa smiled at the salesman and said, Thank you for your help but I'll stick with my sleigh for now. As the salesman watched Santa walk away, he thought, I couldn't sell any car today. My wife is gonna smack me again. When Santa got back to the train, Tucker yelled at Santa, Hey Santa, where have you been? We gotta keep moving here. Ho ho ho, I mean NNN, now we can go. Santa smiled with magnificent brightness. And they started the journey again. Finally they arrived at the closet yard. The train crew carefully shoved Santa's flat car to the engine house. The mechanic Richard and Don the yard master were busy fixing Santa's sleigh inside of the engine house. "45 minutes later, they brought out the sleigh. Don the yard master told Santa, Richard told me to tell you Santa. The distributor of a contact brush was rusted, and one of nanoparticle field extraction thruster was loose. Richard fastened it with a duct tape for you. Also, make sure the transistor tubes are fully warmed up before flying." Santa smiled warmly. Ho ho ho, I mean NNN, you boys are truly Santa's little helpers. Tucker was still doubting about Santa. Santa read his mind and said, "Are you still doubting, Tucker?" Tucker was just staring Santa without a word. "Well," Santa said, "do you remember when you received your first Christmas gift, Tucker? A red and white tin toy train? You played with it every day for years." Tucker remembered the little train. He felt a warm sensation rushed in his heart. He smiled brightly and said, "Yes, Santa. I remember the train. I believed that it was the best thing in the whole world." Santa smiled and slowly nodded. "Yes, believing is everything." Before Tucker could say anything, Santa and his sleigh shot up in the sky and Santa said, "Remember, believing is everything." Santa's sleigh disappeared into distant hazy sky. Yes, as Santa said, believing is everything in our small world. The end.